honoured with having the opportunity to host a World Cup.
And if the England name was read out tomorrow, would you be a proud man?
Absolutely, absolutely. I get all emotional when I even talk about it, because it's such a fantastic thing. When we won the World Cup in '66, at the end of the day, I was so pleased. You know, the fans were all going crazy, and you can't help but be emotional. You know, it's so I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward, and I hope very much that we win. It's a little country, but it's got a big heart, and I'm ready to cheer with the best of them when if it was shouted out that we were the hosts and we'd won it. I'd be so pleased.
So Bobby Charlton, so what happens tomorrow then? Well, the lobbying starts again first thing, as 1A to David Cameron told me tonight. The votes aren't quite yet. Then there's a final rehearsal of the presentation when the lobbying's done, then the presentation itself, and then by mid to late afternoon, well, the voting process should be over and we will know who's won the World Cup in 2018. Now, depending on the result of that, it'll either start a serious party or some serious soul searching.
It's all very exciting. Steve, thank you very much indeed.
Still to come on the programme, a first look at tomorrow's papers, plus the growing backlash against the man who's leaking America's secrets.
The amazing woman who survived the 7/7 King's Cross explosion.
And the bride whose white wedding was cancelled because of the white stuff.
5:45 this morning, I made the mistake of looking out of the window and I thought, this is not going to happen.
But before that, MPs will vote sooner than expected on the coalition's controversial plans to raise university tuition fees for students from England. It will now happen a week tomorrow. Well, our senior political correspondent Chris Shipp joins us now. Chris, some might say the government seems like it's trying to rush this through.
Yes, Mary, a good dose of suspicion here in Westminster tonight. The government is doing exactly that, not only holding this vote on a Thursday when a lot of the nationalist MPs go home to their constituencies early, but also bringing forward the date to the 9th of December when the main student protest was planned for the 11th. Now, the students tell me tonight they'll simply bring forward the date of that protest, which means next Thursday will be a huge day here in Westminster. And despite all of that, we still don't know how the Liberal Democrats are going to vote on this extremely tricky issue for them. I spoke to a number of them here tonight. They're still going for this collective abstention. That's what the coalition document allows. But it leaves the Business Secretary, Vince Cable, as he admitted to students today, in the unenviable position of not supporting the policy his very own department drew up.
We had a coalition agreement between my party and the Tories, which said that under certain circumstances everybody could abstain. And I've said to my colleagues, look, if it makes it easier for you to go down that road, I will join you out of solidarity. You know, we'll work together as a team. So, but, I mean, the right thing to do clearly is for me to vote for the policy that I've been advocating and have negotiated.
Now, Mr Cable's Conservative coalition partners are said to be looking on with interest at how the Lib Dems are putting themselves through hour after agonising hour of internal debate. The Lib Dem leader, Nick Clegg, is tonight at a conference in Kazakhstan. He's got 7 days now to come back and sort this one out. However attractive staying in Kazakhstan might seem right now.
All right, Chris Shipp, thank you.
And it looks tonight as though the coalition government may be thinking again about cutting funding for school sports. David Cameron has asked the Education Secretary, Michael Gove, to look again at the decision less than a week after he denounced the £162 million school sport partnership as a complete failure.
And the government's also unveiled radical plans to reform the policing system in England and Wales. It could see American-style police commissioners elected by local people who could also get more say in decisions like how to combat binge drinking in their area.
An international backlash has begun against the man behind the hundreds of WikiLeaks revelations. One former American governor says Julian Assange should be executed for treason for releasing secret diplomatic messages. And now Interpol have asked police forces across the world to look out for him after rape allegations. Our international editor Bill Neely reports on how the net is closing on the internet whistleblower.
He has unleashed a global sensation. Now he's the object of a global manhunt. Police forces in 188 countries have been asked to look out for Julian Assange, founder of WikiLeaks, wanted in Sweden in connection with rape allegations and by the American government for leaking diplomatic cables. This from a former US presidential candidate.
I think anything less than execution is too kind a penalty. They have put American lives at risk. They put relationships that will take decades to rebuild.
And this from an advisor to Canada's Prime Minister.
Well, I think Assange should be assassinated, actually. I think Obama should put out a contract and maybe use a drone or something.
Assange faces global prosecution and persecution.
It does seem to be something of a witch hunt.
One of his lawyers says there is a real threat to his life.
I'm concerned as to the approach of the Americans, where there have been increasingly bellicose calls for his assassination.
Assange is firing back, calling on Hillary Clinton to resign. The White House has now set up an anti-WikiLeaks panel. It's all spiralling out of control, Assange himself in hiding.
In your view, is this a witch hunt now?
Being hunted, well, yes, you could call it that.
Totally unjustified?
In my opinion, yes.
The US authorities have no case?
Well, we haven't seen any case.
Well, the United States Attorney General is making a lot of noise about prosecutions, but it's very hard to actually bring an effective prosecution against somebody who's not within your jurisdiction.
So for now, he hides while American government documents pour out. WikiLeaks won't be silenced. They're already planning another huge release of secret documents, this time not about the US government or the military, but about American banking and big business. That'll be in the new year. It will mean more red faces and more enemies for WikiLeaks. Bill Neely, ITV News.
And in the last few minutes, the latest batch of secret diplomatic cables has been published by WikiLeaks. Tonight, the attention is on observations made by US diplomats about Russia and its Prime Minister Vladimir Putin. The leaked cables condemn Russia as a mafia state and reveal the Americans believed Putin was likely to have known about the operation to murder Alexander Litvinenko in London in 2006.
One of the survivors of the 7/7 bombings who won admiration around the world for her bravery won yet more today from a coroner. Gillian Hicks lost both her legs in the King's Cross explosion. Today, she somehow managed to smile in court as she talked about that terrible morning. The coroner said to her, "You are amazing." Sally Biddulph heard her evidence.
I think it's the feeling of obviously about to die, and is help going to come, and am I going to get out of this alive?
Jill Hicks is a survivor, today reliving the moments immediately after the King's Cross blast that almost killed her. She was sat just a few seats away from the bomber Jermaine Lindsay. She lost both her legs. Jill has shown extraordinary courage, learning to walk again and determined to see the positive amid such carnage.
I've been able to not only witness but be the recipient of the brilliance of humanity. And, you know, for me that day, you know, literally my armband when I was admitted to hospital just said "one unknown." And that says it all, that people risked their lives to save mine. People never gave up hope for me, and I had no identity.
Jill was late for work on July the 7th and opted for the King's Cross tube to make up time. She didn't normally use that route.
If I could turn back the clock, I don't want to be there. I'd love my legs back. I'd love to be oblivious and to never have known what I know, but to experience what I have with the people that I now have come to love so dearly is really incredible.
The coroner, Lady Justice Hallett, today paid her own tribute to Jill's bravery. She said, "Until I started this process, I had no idea people could survive such serious injuries as yours. You are amazing, you sound amazing, and you look amazing." Jill's response was typical.
We're all amazing. We are all amazing, particularly the people that did everything for me.
Sally Biddulph, ITV News, the High Court.
Now, in the last hour, there's been a pitch invasion after one of tonight's Carling Cup quarter-finals. Rival Birmingham City and Aston Villa fans threw flares and missiles at each other. The local derby had ended with a 2-1 win for Birmingham.
Ipswich are also through to the Carling Cup semis with victory against West Brom. And in the Europa League, Manchester City beat Red Bull Salzburg of Austria 3-0. Mario Balotelli put his side in front and also scored the second. Adam Johnson added a third for City late on. They go through to the next round.
On tomorrow's front pages, The Telegraph says the Transport Secretary has asked for an inquiry to find out why Britain has slid into chaos during the bad weather. The Star says the weather is no joke and forecasts that it is going to get worse. And The Times shows a wintry scene in York, but its headline is about a £3 billion cliffhanger, and it refers to the FIFA vote tomorrow, of course, on which country gets to host and profit from the 2018 World Cup.
And finally, many a bride dreams of a white wedding, but not the kind that confronted Tracy Gell when she looked out of her window at 5:45 this morning. Tracy was supposed to be getting married today, but that was until several inches of snow fell on her hometown of Sheffield overnight. She got the white dress, but the photographer, the wedding car and the hairdresser couldn't get through. As Emma Murphy reports, Tracy's wedding was wiped out by the whiteout.
Oh, look at that. Isn't it lovely, that?
It is, it's great.
Admiring their wedding cake and gifts, but still not a married couple, because the only thing white on what should have been Tracy and Gavin's special day was snow.
Can't believe it.
Yeah.
And we've not got married today.
Never mind, it'll happen one day.
The couple live up one of Sheffield's steepest hills, and now it's treacherous. With the rest of the city snowbound, the wedding had to be put on hold, so the dress is still on the hanger and the guests all at home.
Photographer couldn't get through, the wedding car wasn't able to, and the hairdresser wasn't able to, so I thought, well, they're the things that I need for my wedding day, so let's call it off for now.
It was just going to be far too dangerous for everybody concerned, really, so we just had to call it off.